ready to go deep. Today, we're diving into the world of Gikan Ryū.
A martial art?
With a history.
Well, let's just say it's complicated.
That's one way to put it.
Think secret scrolls.
Legendary warrior.
Even connections to huge names in the martial arts world.
We're talking sources that blend historical overviews with translated excerpts.
Really fascinating stuff.
Oh, and did I mention there's a connection to a legendary judo master?
You won't believe it when you hear it.
Buckle up because we're about to unpack it all.
This is Gikan Ryū.
A school focused on adaptability and practicality.
Yeah, it's about understanding the principles.
Not just the techniques.
Being able to apply them.
In any situation.
It's a school that survived for centuries.
By evolving and changing with the times.
A real lesson for us all, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's not just about fighting.
No, it's about understanding
The principles.
Right.
And applying them in any situation.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin with a story like this?
Well, you got to start at the beginning, right?
I guess so.
With the founder.
The OG.
Uryu Hangan Gikanbo.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
He was a daimyō,
Which basically means...
a powerful feudal lord in Japan.
like a regional ruler.
Not just some martial arts enthusiast.
This guy was...
A leader with some serious authority.
the sources describe him as having...
incredible striking power.
like, how incredible.
We're talking breaking a sword in half.
With his bare hand.
You heard that, right?
Wow,
What's the
that's...
strength?
it really sets the stage for this.
Almost mythical reputation.
Surrounding Gikan Ryū.
And speaking of mythical,
We can't forget about the connection to...
the famous ninja.
Momochi Sondayu.
Some speculate that Gikanbo might have learned kopijutsu from him.
Kopujutsu.
That's a bone-breaking art.
So we're talking ninja-level bone-breaking skills.
It's a fascinating possibility
It definitely adds another layer.
to the Gikan Ryū story.
It makes you wonder how much of those ninja legends...
Are actually rooted in reality.
right.
But back to Gikan Ryū.
How did the school continue?
After the founder.
Yeah, where to go from there?
Well, the lineage takes some interesting turns.
Like what?
The second ski, Uryu Yoshimitsu,
Okay.
became a monk later in life.
Oh, wow.
It just shows how intertwined martial arts and spiritual practices were back then.
Right.
It wasn't just about fighting.
It was a whole way of life.
Exact.
Which makes you think about the mental and philosophical side of it.
It's not just physical.
There's a deeper layer there.
Absolutely.
But then we have the 10th Suke,
Uryu Hangan.
who had this incredible encounter.
During the 1863 Tenshigumi no Ran battle,
This is where things get interesting.
imagine this. You're fighting in this fierce battle.
On the side of the emperor,
Talk about pressure.
and you lose an arm.
To a musket ball.
Ouch.
That's exactly what happened to Uryu Gikan.
That's brutal.
I know, right?
I can't even imagine
The pain and chaos.
what happened next.
So, severely wounded,
Yeah.
Uryu Gikan seeks refuge in a nearby temple.
To escape the battle.
And guess who he encounters?
Who? Ishitani Takeo Masatsugu.
Of the Kukishin school.
The one and only.
And get this, they were actually fighting on opposite sides.
Can you believe that?
Crazy, right?
But Ishitani helps Uryu Gikan heal.
And escape.
Talk about a twist of fate.
It's amazing how things like that happen.
Right. Adversity, bringing people together.
So they went from battlefield rivals to
More than just comrades.
a deep bond
And they exchange knowledge.
between their school.
Seriously.
Ishitani actually becomes the Suke of Gikan Ryū later on.
Wait, hold on.
In addition to his titles as Suke of Kukishin Ryū and Hantai Takagi Yushin Ryu.
He held leadership in 3 different schools.
That's right.
This Ishitani guy.
He was a martial arts prodigy.
But how did they even pass down all this knowledge?
Was there like a formal school or system?
A Gikan Ryū University.
Not exactly.
So how do they do it?
This is where the concept of kuden comes in. Oral transmission of knowledge. They also had these technical scrolls called makimono.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
They were intentionally vague.
Intentionally vague.
Yeah. Why do you think that was?
I don't know why.
Protection.
Protection from what?
They didn't want the school's secrets to be easily deciphered.
If they fell into the wrong hands.
Think of it like a secret code.
Only those within the lineage could understand it.
Exactly.
That's actually really smart.
Right.
But it's also kind of risky.
How so?
Well, what if something happened to the scrolls?
Or the people who knew how to interpret them.
Exactly.
It's a double-edged sword.
Safeguards the knowledge.
But also makes it vulnerable.
Which brings us to...
World War II.
And the potential loss of documentation.
During the bombings.
Imagine all that knowledge.
It's gone.
It makes you think about
The importance of a clear lineage
and dedicated practitioners.
to keep the art alive.
So, who did keep it alive? Where does the Gikan Ryū lineage go from there?
Well, that's where things take a more modern turn.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Master Takamatsu
Huge name in the martial arts world.
passed the Gikan Ryū school on to his friend and student,
Okay,
Akimoto Fumio Sensei.
Akimoto Sensei.
But tragedy struck.
What happens?
Akimoto Sensei passed away suddenly,
Oh no.
without naming an heir.
Wow, so what happened to Gikan Ryū?
Did it just disappear?
Well, we'll have to find out after the break.
Stay tuned.
Because the story
The Gikan Ryū,
is just getting started.
trust me.
We'll be right back.
Trust me.
We left off with that connection.
Between Akimoto Sensei
A Gikan Ryū master,
and Mitsunechi's.
legendary judo master,
It's a perfect example.
of Gikan Ryū's adaptability.
It's not just about brute force.
It's about understanding the principles
And applying them,
to any situation.
even in a different martial art.
It's like a martial arts crossover episode.
I love that.
But what exactly did Akimoto Sensei teach Mifune?
He focused on specific Gikan Ryū techniques, attacking the hand and foot.
These techniques.
They have a name, right?
Atemiwaza.
Atemiwaza.
Vital point strikes.
Aimed at.
Disrupting the opponent's body.
Think of them as precisely targeted attacks.
Designed to exploit weaknesses.
Again, the body's structure.
And energy flow.
That sounds intense.
It must have been quite a change.
For Mifune.
Who was used to throws and grappling.
The hallmarks of judo.
Exactly.
It speaks volumes about his open-mindedness.
His dedication to learning.
He saw the value
in these techniques.
and how they could complement
his existing judo skills.
It makes you wonder.
What does it make you wonder?
Did those Gikan Ryū techniques influence judo in any way?
It's certainly possible.
I mean,
Judo is mainly known for throws and grappling.
right.
But striking techniques do exist within judo.
So it's not out of the question.
That Mifune might have incorporated some of what he learned
From Akimoto Sensei.
into his own teaching and practice. That's fascinating.
It really is.
Showing how interconnected,
Martial arts can be.
even if they seem completely different.
On the surface.
So let's get back to Akimoto Sensei for a moment.
Okay.
You mentioned he was also the sake of another martial art,
Shokunryu Dakintojutsu.
Shokan Ryū Kentajutsu.
A style that developed within his own family. He died without naming an heir to this particular style.
That's sad.
It really is.
It makes his efforts to teach Mifune.
Even more significant
Like he knew.
that he had to share his knowledge.
To make sure it wouldn't be lost.
Exactly.
He understood the importance.
Of passing on these traditions.
Even if his own family style didn't survive.
His impact on judo through Mifune.
Is undeniable.
That's for sure.
It's a reminder that knowledge transmission can take many forms.
And have unexpected consequences.
But going back to those intentionally vague scrolls,
A makimono.
how do they balance secrecy?
With actually teaching the art.
Yeah, how did that work?
Well, those scrolls,
They were more like a guide.
not a complete instruction manual.
So the real learning happened through the oral transmission.
From teacher to student,
So like cryptic clues
that needed to be deciphered.
through direct teaching.
You could say that.
It's pretty unique.
It forced students to think for themselves.
Go beyond just mimicking,
The techniques.
had to internalize
Develop.
a deeper understanding.
I can see how that would foster a different kind of learning.
More intuitive.
Than just rote memorization.
Exactly.
Hold
A
foot feet.
martial mindset.
Adapting.
Responding to any situation.
Which brings us back to Gikan Ryū's key principle.
Adaptability.
But what did that look like in practice?
How did they adapt their techniques over time?
Give us some examples.
One way was incorporating elements from other martial arts.
Like that.
Remember Uryu Gikan, the 10th Suke?
The one who lost his arm?
That's the one.
He formed that close bond with Ishitani Takeo Masatsugu.
From the Kukishin school. They were fighting on opposite sides.
And yet,
They ended up exchanging knowledge
which probably led to new techniques.
and strategies being integrated into Gikan Ryū.
They weren't afraid to learn from others.
It wasn't about staying pure.
Or sticking rigidly to tradition
It was about evolving.
to become more effective.
That's a valuable lesson for us today, wouldn't you say?
In a world that's constantly changing.
We need to be able to adapt,
To learn new skills,
to think on our feet.
whether you're a martial artist or not.
So true.
But besides incorporating techniques from other styles,
How else did they demonstrate this adaptability?
well, they were also known for their emphasis on practicality.
Real-world application.
Their techniques weren't just theoretical.
They were designed for survival.
In combat,
That meant understanding the most effective ways,
to disable an opponent,
whether through strikes.
throws or joint locks.
Speaking of techniques,
Yes.
can we talk about what makes Gikan Ryū fighting unique?
What sets it apart?
We touched on a temiwaza.
The vital point strikes.
But what else is in their arsenal?
Well, while a temiwaza is a signature element,
Okay.
Gikan Ryū also utilizes grappling, throws, and joint locks.
Kind of like judo?
Similar, but with their own unique twist, they incorporate some weapon skills as well.
So it's a very well-rounded system.
It covers all the bases,
But with all this adaptation,
borrowing from other styles,
doesn't that risk diluting the art?
or losing its identity.
That's a valid concern.
But the strength of a lineage-based system like Gikan Ryū,
Lies in the direct transmission.
of knowledge from teacher to student,
So the core principles and techniques,
are passed down through generations.
ensuring a continuity of practice.
That's the key.
It's a living tradition,
Constantly evolving.
but rooted in a strong foundation.
Exactly.
But that brings up another question.
Shoot,
With all the secrecy and emphasis on oral transmission,
how much do we actually know?
about the specifics of Gikan Ryū techniques,
That's one of the biggest mysteries.
because of those vague scrolls,
And the reliance on Kuden,
a lot of the detailed knowledge might be lost.
especially with the potential destruction of documents.
During World War II,
It makes you wonder what secrets
might be hidden in those lost scrolls.
or what techniques have been forgotten.
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
Speaking of lost knowledge,
What about it?
there's one more connection we need to explore.
Oh.
The link between Gikan Ryū, the mysterious Izumo Kopujutsu school,
Yes, a connection shrouded in mystery and speculation.
lost schools, secret techniques, legendary warriors.
It's all part of the Gikan Ryū story.
So what do we actually know about Izumo Kopujutsu?
Unfortunately, not much.
That's a shame.
We know the two schools were connected at some point,
Okay.
but the nature of their relationship
Remains unclear.
and the possibility that Izumo Kopujutsu has vanished
Makes our exploration
of Gikan Ryū.
even more important.
It's like a race against time.
To uncover these lost connections
And piece together the fragments of history.
before they're gone forever.
It's a fascinating journey.
It really is.
But with all that said,
Yeah.
why should the listener care about Gikan Ryū?
What makes this relevant today?
That's a great question.
And one we'll explore.
In more detail in our final segment.
Okay, tease it up for us.
The history and techniques of Gikan Ryū are fascinating.
What's the lessons we can learn?
That truly matter.
I'm intrigued
Stay with us.
as we unpack the relevance of Gikan Ryū
For the modern world.
and discover what this unique martial art can teach us
About adaptability, resilience.
and the enduring power of tradition. Welcome back. We've been through a lot.
We have.
The history, the lineage, the techniques
Even those lost connections.
of Gikan Ryū.
Quite a journey.
But now, let's shift gears a bit.
Time to connect the dots.
Exactly. What does this all mean?
For the listener,
Why should they care?
about Gikan Ryū today.
It's easy to get lost.
In the fascinating details.
The secret scrolls.
The legendary warriors.
Yeah.
But the real value is in the lessons
We can draw.
from this art.
It's not just history.
It's wisdom.
Wisdom we can apply to our own lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hit me with those life lessons.
What are these hidden gems?
Well, the most prominent one,
Adaptability.
we've talked about it.
Throughout this whole deep dive,
Gikan Ryū didn't survive by being rigid.
it embraced change.
Incorporated new ideas
That-
to meet the challenges of its time.
That really resonates today.
Doesn't it?
Things are changing so fast.
Technology, information, the way we work.
It's all constant flux.
Exactly.
And in this kind of environment,
This dynamic
being able
environment
to adapt,
to learn new skills.
to be flexible in your thinking,
Those are essential
not just nice to have.
for success and survival.
In any field,
Yeah.
it's like Gikan Ryū is a training manual
For what?
for navigating a world of constant disruption.
I like that.
But there's more to it.
What else can we learn?
Another key takeaway.
Is the importance of understanding principles.
over just blindly following techniques.
Those vague scrolls.
They weren't a weakness.
They were a strength.
They forced students to think for themselves.
Exactly. To grasp the underlying concepts.
Not just mimicking movements.
The why behind the how.
This deeper understanding.
Allowed them to adapt.
To be more creative.
More resourceful.
It's like the difference between memorizing a recipe
and understanding how to cook.
One gives you a specific dish.
The other gives you endless possibilities.
That's a great way to put it.
And this applies to anything.
Business, science, relationships.
If you understand the principles,
you can be more effective.
More innovative.
More resilient.
Exactly.
Gikan Ryū.
What about it?
It's not just about fighting.
It's a mindset.
A way of approaching problems.
Finding solutions.
That goes beyond the physical.
It's a way of life.
Is there anything else we can learn from this deep dive?
One more lesson.
Lay it on me.
The power of connection.
We've seen it throughout Gikan Ryū's history.
Haven't we?
They interacted with other styles.
Borrowed techniques.
Influenced other arts.
Like judo.
It's amazing how much they learn from each other.
Different disciplines.
Growing in unexpected ways.
In a world that's becoming more and more interconnected.
This open-mindedness.
This willingness to learn.
To bridge those gaps.
Between disciplines and cultures.
That's what drives innovation.
Fosters collaboration.
Helps us tackle the challenges we face.
It's all connected.
We're not alone in this journey.
We're part of something larger.
A network of knowledge and experience.
Sharing insight.
Learning from each other.
We can achieve so much more.
Together.
That's the beauty of it.
So as we wrap up our Gikan Ryū deep dive.
What should our listeners do?
Keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
Keep that spark of curiosity alive.
It's what drives us forward.
Whether you're a martial artist,
a history buff,
or just someone who loves a good story,
the legacy of Gikan Ryū
offers valuable insights.
The human experience,
the drive to adapt,
the power of connection,
the enduring quest for knowledge.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one.
To do what?
To unearth a new piece of the puzzle.
Discover a lost scroll.
Connect the dots in a way
that sheds new light on this ancient art.
The possibilities are endless.
The mystery continues.
That's the beauty of it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Gikan Ryū.
It's been a pleasure.